Our professional education this morning is going to be, what is your financial independence number? And this is presented by Sherry French Waddell from the financial insurance agent of Waddell Enterprises. Sherry Waddell, owner of Waddell Enterprises Financial Services, is deeply committed to supporting families through every stage of life. Born in Montana and now rooted in Idaho, Sherry is a mother of four and a proud grandmother, which fuels her compassionate approach to financial planning. She serves as a Mountain West Regional Coordinator for her backing company, Venture Financial Group, and holds many state licenses. Sherry is also a board member of the Funeral Consumers Alliance of Idaho and actively participates in several Valley chambers and Learn Idaho, always striving to stay connected with the communities she serves. With a heart for education and advocacy, Sherry specializes in teaching simple, practical money principles to help individuals and families, especially those in caregiving roles, prepare for life's financial challenges. She understands the emotional and financial weight of caregivers often carry and is passionate about providing guidance that brings peace of mind and long-term stability. Go ahead, Sherry. We're excited to have you this morning, and we're to learn what you've got to share.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today. I'm super excited. I'm going to play a little video, maybe. Since video seems to be the challenge today, huh?
Yeah.
Let's start with this. We're going to play a little video and then I'll get right into it.
We're not hearing the audio on that, Sherry.
You're not.
Maybe can you unplug your headset? It seemed like
yeah, hold on. We'll change gears. Hold on. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if we can do this.
Hello, welcome.
Can you hear now?
Have you ever
Yes.
thought about how much money you actually need to retire? Let's talk about your financial independence number. Many people rush into retirement without looking at the key factors that determine financial independence. Let's break it down in a simple way. First, you have to ask yourself three critical questions. What age do you want to retire? How much yearly income do you want in retirement? How long do you expect to live? These are the starting questions we need to ask ourselves. We have to ask ourselves now, how much money do we need in retirement? Things to consider are your monthly expenses, income, debt, living expenses, and mortgage. Let's say you want to retire at age 40. You will need 50 years of income if your life expectancy is 95. Let's say you want a six-figure income in retirement. That's $100,000 for 55 years equals $5.5 million. Another example is you retire at 65 years, you will need 30 years of income if life expectancy is 95. $100,000 for 30 years, that is $3 million. Let's break this down even further. At age 40, you have 25 years left to work until retirement. $3 million divided by 25 years equals $120,000 per year you need to save. That's $10,000 per month after taxes. Compound interest and the rule of 72. Divide the rate of return into 72 to find the approximate number of years it takes your money to double. There are strategies to grow your money through fixed index annuities, guaranteed income annuities, investments, tax-advantaged accounts, and financial planning. In your financial plan, we don't want to leave out the unexpected things that can impact it. Family, births, deaths, hospitalizations, and other unforeseen things. Long-term care, I think, is missing in a lot of financial plans today. This is a huge area where things aren't being discussed or planned for. Roughly 70% of people aged 65 and older will need some form of long-term care services in their lifetime. This needs to be looked at as state laws are changing with this challenge of caring for the elderly. There is one more rule we should go over. The rule of 100. How old you are is the percentage that should be in secured investments. The remaining percentage should be in the market. The key to successful retirement is to know your financial independence number and to have a plan. Start planning today. Contact us to calculate your financial independence number or to talk about what you need in your plan. Thank you for watching my video today. Sherry French Waddell, admin at wallenterprises.com.
Gotta love AI with that, right? That's so funny. Wall. I'm Wall Enterprises, not Waddell. Anyway, let's get this slideshow. So I feel like that was like such a downer video compared to what we just watched, right? Now, we're talking about compassion and horses and how loving we can be supportive to our families. And now we're talking about money. I mean, how do I compete with that? I can't compete at all. I feel duped, Karen, duped. So let's talk a little bit about financial independence number and how you figure that out. Because I know a lot of people are probably feeling right now, like myself, a little behind for retirement. And it's stressful when you talk about money. It can be. So we need to first ask these 4 questions of ourselves. How much yearly income do you want in retirement? And what your biggest concern is about retirement planning? Because that will gear us towards that financial path that you want to go down. So, and then of course, life expectancy, how long did your parents live? How long did your mom live? How long did your dad live? Your grandparents? That'll kind of give you a good range of your longevity. My grandmother is 99. I'm doomed, just completely doomed to live a very long life. You can look at it 2 different ways. She's wonderful, she's great, and she's doing awesome. But also you have to look at what age we want to retire at. And some people want to retire early, some people want to retire later, but you really have to have a really good, solid plan to know exactly when to retire. You also have to understand the tax the tax advantages and disadvantages onto the date that you retire. Has a lot to do with it. So you need to look at that as well. So let's look at estimating our retirement needs. You have to estimate, how much monthly income you'll actually need in retirement. And a lot of things that I notice when I get together with families is they don't consider inflation and they don't consider the cost of goods and how things are going to go up. And then also what you want to continue to do in retirement, right? We're not dead in retirement. So we want to go out and have vacations and visit family and do all of those things. So we also have to put those costs into it as well. So retirement age, this is crazy. Some people want to retire at, 65. Some people want to wait a little bit longer. You have to look at how much savings you need and delaying retirement, how that increases Social Security and pension benefits, but also you have to look at the tax complications or the tax, everybody has to pay the tax man. So you have to look at that as well. And then our desired lifestyle, right? What kind of lifestyle do we want to have in retirement and what are those income needs? So I sit down with families a lot and do financial needs analysis. And I always ask, what are your top 3 short-term financial goals and what are your 3 long-term financial goals? And also a question that I didn't put in here is what are some of your goals in retirement? Some people maybe don't want to work, but they want to volunteer and they want to do other things as well. So we take that into consideration. And do you anticipate any changes in your financial situation in the next 5 years, 10 years? Is there any family that you have to take care of? Do you have children that maybe you need to take care of or have special needs? Or do you have a spouse that has special needs that you're going to have to, slow down for and take care of? And how confident do you feel about your financial situation? Are you insecure about that financial situation, or are you really, really secure? So let's talk about our financial independence number. So financial independence number is your expenses and your safe withdrawal rate. So you take your annual income that you expect to have during retirement, and obviously you look at your withdrawal rate and how much money that you would have out of those accounts, whether it's your retirement accounts, your annuities, all of your investments, and what you've saved. So nationally, they say your safe withdrawal rate is between 3 and 3.5%, and some say 4. We notice that if you go up to 4, a lot of times we're running out of money a little quicker than what we want. So you also have to look at what sources of income that you have today and those sources of income in retirement, your pensions, your 401k, Social Security, IRAs, other sources, and how much you plan to withdraw from those accounts and how much that will last. And then you also have to create a budget for retirement, comparing your projected income with your expenses, and plan for the travel, the hobby, the long-term care, and medical costs, and helping kids or grandkids financially. And healthcare costs in retirement, your Medicare, your Medigap, your long-term care. And I'm gonna just pause here for a second and talk about long-term care. We just had a big election, and nobody is talking about long-term care and what effects long-term care is going to have on our seniors. And I call them the sandwich generation. That's the generation where you have your mom and dad retired, and then you are still working yourself and getting ready for retirement, and then you have younger children. And so this is a huge concern. And nobody's talking about long-term care. I know in Washington State and some other states, they're putting payroll tax in just so they can subsidize the long-term care statewide. So we're going to see that across the country eventually this year and next year and the year after, where they're changing laws to incorporate taxes that come out of your paychecks in payroll tax and stuff to subsidize for state aid in long-term care programs. So this is something that is going to affect all of us. So we really need to be preparing for long-term care. And 90% out of 100 65 years or older will have some type of long-term care event in some form or fashion. So that's hip replacement, knee replacement, someone having to take care of them from a heart attack or some kind of
in no time.
catastrophic. And then we also have to look in retirement in our healthcare costs is our out-of-pocket expenses, right? Those co-pays, those prescriptions, the whole prescription, the gap, the donut hole that you get caught in, all those kind of things. We want to invest wisely, reduce and eliminate our debt and our credit cards and our mortgage, or look at other things like reverse mortgage is huge for in retirement and can help us with that income gap. Remembering the rule of 100, don't put all your eggs in one basket in investments. We don't want all of our money in the stock market. We don't want all of our money in secured accounts. We need a nice, good, holistic plan. Look at fees. High fees can eat into returns, and focus on income generating or more conservative investments as you're closer to retirement. We have a rule: 5 years before retirement and 5 years after retirement are the most crucial years to look at your financial plan. That is where we're finding if you make a critical mistake, that it's usually 5 years before retirement or 5 years after retirement. So really seek guidance, consider consulting with a licensed professional on a financial plan for retirement. You want to look at your tax implications, withdrawals from like your IRAs, your 401ks, are they taxable? And your Roth accounts grow and withdrawal tax free if your Social Security is taxable, depending on your income. If you're below that threshold, obviously not, but most of us are going to pay taxes on our Social Security. And then we also have to look at those required minimum distributions at age 73 and what tax implications are on those. And also implications on changing jobs. So estate planning essentials, definitely have an estate plan. I can't stress enough, wills, trusts, power of attorneys, healthcare directives do matter. It saves a lot of heartache and problems with your family and going through probate and all of that stuff. Make sure your beneficiaries are up to date. And don't forget to account for any digital assets that you might have as well. So these are some of the services I offer. I offer income protection and living benefits, term, whole life, IUL, insurance, final expense. We do have a health share program that I'm super excited. We just launched. I have relationships with a few lawyers to help with trust and wills, and I have partnerships with professionals for mortgages and fixed index annuities, guaranteed income annuities for life annuities, and fixed index annuities with long-term care writers. I love this product. I have never seen anything like it for long-term care in all my years. So they're getting really creative to help with those. And if you don't personally have a financial plan, let's set a time together and sit down and look at that. And retirees are usually worried about outliving their income, and people that just have to work um I don't know what I was going to say there. I had a little note and it doesn't make sense. So that's what happens early in the morning. But so great referrals for me are parents with minor children and people that need to protect their income with living benefits. And life insurance has changed a lot with living benefits. If you have critical or chronic or terminal illness, you actually can take from the death benefit now. And a lot of people don't know that. So if your husband's in construction like mine is, falls, breaks a leg, is out for 90 days, you actually could take from the death benefit to help pay for your bills and stuff. It's a beautiful thing for young families. So it's that extra layer of protection on income. And I absolutely love it. So life insurance is definitely changing. So another great referral for me would be a client looking towards retirement, either 5 years or 5 years after into retirement, and they're worried about their income lasting. So those are great referrals for me. I just want to serve you guys. I call myself a financial servant, and I'm a Google phone book, so I probably have connections to whomever you might need. So if it's not me, I definitely can put you in front of someone that can help you. So thank you today. Thank you for letting me speak and serving you and the community. And I just open it up to any questions if anybody has questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Sherry? Richard Wexler just wanted to thank you for your presentation. Could you explain a little further about digital assets? What would somebody be looking at with digital assets, and what protection mechanisms should they have in place regarding those?
Yeah, digital assets are anything that you sell online. So like if you have an online store, if you have any like I have ebook, anything like that you want to protect. So it's just like a business. So you just want to make sure that you have those assets. Also, like your Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your profiles and stuff like that. You want to make sure that in the settings that if you pass, you know what you want to do with those assets as well. So if you want them shut off, just make sure that you have someone in place that can shut those things down if you don't want them on the internet forever.
And with regard to the digital assets, is there something that you put in place, or is that in your trust? Is that in your will with instructions? Or is there a somewhere in the digital asset itself that you've assigned an individual to step in and take care of that? I'm not familiar with that process.
Yeah, so in like for instance, let's say Facebook, it's in your settings. You can actually deem someone to either shut that off or tell them, like, if I pass away, please shut this off.
But like like a Shopify or a business
Yeah,
account.
that is actually in your will and in your trust.
Okay.
If you have a Shopify account or you have any kind of business online, that definitely should be in your trust. Unless you liquidate that before retirement. But if you start a business in retirement, absolutely that should be in your trust and in your will and how you want that directed. But I think a lot of times people don't think about that. They think, oh, a physical business, right? They're not thinking, oh, I have a digital business. And even if it's a small side little business, you need to know what to do with that.
Karen Midlow says, I highly recommend the book that Sherry has created. It's available on Amazon and it's awesome. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I have a workbook. It's called Don't Wait Until It's Too Late. I call it my grieving project. My dad passed away 2-3 years ago, and I wrote this book specifically because I was in the ICU and getting bombarded with all these questions, and I'm like, I don't know these answers. Like, I should know these answers, and I don't know these answers. And so I wrote a book. It's called Don't Wait Until It's Too Late. It has advanced directive, pulsed, it has funeral planning, it has a funeral budget. It's just a great workbook to fill out and have it with your will and your trust. It shows all your wishes. You can do your obit, you can do everything ahead of time. So your family's not bombarded like I was in that grief. So it's just super, super helpful to have those conversations beforehand. In the book, it also has questions to ask your family to talk about those hard subjects that nobody wants to talk about.
That sounds amazing. I just made some notes here on that. Fantastic. Does anybody have any other questions that you'd like to pose to Sherry while we have her professional undivided attention at the moment?
I'm interested in that long-term care rider, how that might work that you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you familiar? I don't know how many people are familiar with annuities. So annuity is an investment product. It's a contract between you and the insurance company or carrier. You would invest the money. So I'm going to use an arbitrary amount, $50,000, or actually let's go higher. Let's go $200,000. So you put in $200,000, right? And so the annuity, you put in $200,000 and it mimics the market. So you actually pick indexes. We have analysis and stuff to look at that. So we pick different indexes. There's two ways that we do it. We divide it up by 1 year point to point and 2 year point to point. So we divide that money up by 4, usually 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%, right? So 4. We pick 4 different indexes. This one's 1 year point to point. This one's 1 year point to point. This one's 2 year point to point. This one's 2 year point to point. Now, pause. Let's talk about point to point. You're like, 1 year point to point, what does that mean? Well, you put money in on January 1st of 2025. Your account then gets credited the following year on January 1st, 2026. So then that's when it's credited for the interest upon the index. So you have two accounts that are crediting at 1 year, 2 year, or two accounts that are crediting at 2 year point to point. So that way you're always every year getting credited, right? So in an annuity, they guarantee that you will get a certain percentage of your money, like a CD, right? CDs, you get interest on that. And then, so you get credited 1 year point to point, 2 year point to point. If that index does not do well, it's zero interest. So you don't lose your money. Like the stock market. Stock market, it goes down, you lose your money. And a fixed index annuity or a growth annuity, that does not happen. So zeros are hero because we can't lose our money, we can only gain our money. So I love annuities for that fact. I did one just recently of $50,000 and her money's going to double in 7 years. So it's a great way. I call it like a glorified CD. Now, the long-term care rider is a rider. It's an annuity, and it's a long-term care rider. So you would put money in that long-term care rider, and it's just like another annuity account. It works the same way, except the long-term care annuity rider has fees, right? And everybody's like, annuities fees. But the cool thing about the long-term care annuity rider that I absolutely love is it has a tripler or a doubler. So you put it in like a regular annuity and it grows, right? And it still can hit zero, like zeros are hero, right? Every once in a while we have bad years in the market. Those indexes don't do so well, but it's not very often. And so it continually grows. You have a tripler, and I love the tripler or the doubler. And the tripler is they give you 3 times the amount that you put in for long-term care. So you put in $100,000, you could actually have 300 or to $400,000 for long-term care as it grows. And the reason I love the long-term care rider is that you can use it for in-home care, you can use it for facility care, you can use it for any kind of care that you want. You don't have to turn in receipts. It's your money. You can do whatever you want with that money as long as it's going towards your long-term care. The other thing I really like about it is you can turn it on and you can turn it off. So let's say you have a hip replacement and you need to turn that long-term care rider on and you need $10,000 a month per se, right? The amount varies on what you've put into it, right? But let's say we turn it on and we need $10,000 a month for the next 6 months. You can get that $10,000 for your care the next 6 months, and then you can say, oh, life insurance company, I don't need this anymore, turn it off. And so they turn it off and it continues to grow. Yeah, it's a beautiful product. It continues to grow and you can turn it back on. Now, if you turn it on and whatever amount that you start withdrawing on for when you turn it on, if you turn it off and have to turn it back on again, you're only going to get the same amount that you turned it on the first time. But you continually get that every single month. So
I have a question about Sherry. To set that up, does it require a physical examination like long-term care policies do?
no, they do like a short little like video. It's via Zoom. It's a video cognitive test and then a physical test. Like they make you like stand up and down in a chair like 3 times, and then they have you like recite, can you give me a list of 10 girl names? And then they'll go on to a couple more questions and then go back to the girl names. Can you list off the girl names that you just listed, you know, it's a cognitive test.
So
It's
it's not a
pretty simple.
comprehensive medical examination like what's required for a long-term care policy. So chances are
No.
many more people would qualify easier to get into with a long-term care rider situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. It's probably one of the best products I've ever seen for long-term care solutions. And I'm not saying this is for everyone. Obviously, we'd have to sit down, evaluate, do an analysis on your finances, you know. I would like to say this. A lot of people think annuities are bad, and they've kind of gotten a bad rap in the past because we've had index annuities, or we've had all different kinds of annuities, but fixed index annuities and guaranteed annuities are not are pretty solid. They're steady Eddies. They're great in retirement. They're great for investments. Our business is booming. You probably see tons of ads on Facebook for annuities, and people are probably like, what is this? Like, this is a new thing. They've restructured. We've learned a lot. You know, I know, Karen, we talked about this in the mortgage industry, how it was terrible there in 2008 when we had that huge crash. It's the same thing with life insurance companies. They've really revamped a lot of things. And so I would definitely take a look at your policies. If you don't know what's going on in any of your policies, I'm happy to sit down and discuss that, because so many things have changed over the years. So,
Good information. Does anybody else have any questions you'd like to ask Sherry? If not, we'll wrap up. I know she's got her information there. You can reach out to her privately. And Katie Nelson just wanted you to know before she left how much she appreciated the long-term care information that you did share.
yeah, and next time I have a seminar, I'm supposed to have a seminar on the 27th of May. If marketing hasn't started, I'm going to push it back to the second week of June. And I can email everybody that information, because those seminars are huge. It really is educational, and there's no requirement. You can just come and learn, and that's the whole point of it, is to come and learn. And thank you guys for your time. I hope I explained that well enough. If not, set up an appointment with me. It's early in the morning and we're just getting going, but the long-term care annuity rider, I can't explain it enough. It's a huge solution. I've talked with Rex about it. People are not talking about this. It's a huge product. You can set yourself up in such a great scenario to where you don't have to worry about if you have to go into a home when you're older, and don't have to go on Medicaid and all those kind of things. Like, there are solutions out there, and there is hope in retirement, guys. It's not all gloom and doom. And that was hard to follow today.
You did a great job. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much. Thank you.
And happy birthday.
Oh,
Happy
thank
birthday.
you. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.